Good day, Youth for Christ International family. I love you folks all around the world. We're in this together. And let me just share a little bit today of what I believe God is speaking to my heart about. There's an illustration that I have heard about a U.S. aircraft carrier. That apparently the way it was working, they would assign 3 rows of men to walk the deck from time to time to make sure that there was no shrapnel or foreign objects on the deck. They did the 3 rows to be absolutely sure. But then they discovered something about human behavior. The people in the first row weren't looking super careful because they knew there were 2 more rows coming behind them. And the second and third rows, they weren't so worried about whether they found anything because they assumed the first row would have found it. So they decided to change to only having 1 row, and it turned out to be more effective. Why? It's pretty simple. Those people walking that deck knew that to have a clear deck and thereby have safety for airplanes taking off and landing, it was all up to them. They were absolutely dependent on that 1 row. Now let me take you to a couple of scriptures. So there's one in Psalm 130, verse 5. In that psalm, the psalmist specifically says, I have put my hope in you 100%. You are my only hope, and my hope is in your word. The same is said really in just a different way in Lamentations chapter 3. There in verse 22, we have those beautiful verses where it says, the faithful love of the Lord never ends. His mercies never cease. Great is his faithfulness. His mercies begin afresh every morning. Then it says, I say to myself, the Lord is my inheritance, therefore I will hope in him. Again, really saying that he has put all his hope in the Lord Jesus. So here's the question that I've been asking myself this last week. Have I truly put all my hope in the Lord? Do I absolutely depend on his word and on his promises for my life? Or do I have a second and third row? And do I spend a lot of my time and attention and maybe have some anxiety in my life if I'm not sure about them in terms of those backup plans, sort of in case the Lord doesn't come through, or in case he doesn't really do what he says he's going to do in his word? I want to be a 1-row Christian. That Christian that absolutely 100% has put my hope and my trust in the Lord Jesus. My confidence is in him. My inheritance is in him. Everything is in him. And I absolutely trust him for my life. So that's the challenge that I'm hearing from the Spirit this week, and I share that with you. God bless.